His Excellency, the Deputy Prime Minister of Italy and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Tajani, Her Excellency, Mrs. Bernini, Minister of University and Research, His Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Israel, Mr. Saar, distinguished guest. I am proud and honored to have you here to host you at the port of Ashdod, the main port in Israel and the only port owned by the State of Israel. Approximately 40% of the goods arriving in Israel are handled by the port of Ashdod, and it is a major economic artery. On October 7th, 2 company employees were killed while defending their homes next to Gaza during the Hamas terrorist attack. Another employee lost his daughter, whose only scene was dancing at the Nova Music Festival, as well as the other 364 young people who were massacred by terrorists who invaded Israel from Gaza. 3 of our employees lost their children, who were soldiers in the IDF. 55 employees and their families lost their homes but quickly returned to work despite this. The port of Ashdod, a strategic facility of the State of Israel, was under missile attacks from Gaza and Iran, but did not stop functioning for a moment. Its workers showed strength and resilience in continuing to function even under constant fire and alarms. Even during the war, humanitarian aid to Gaza passed through the port of Ashdod. The Ashdod Port Company has maintained and will continue to maintain the policy of the Israeli government supporting and assisting in achieving the goals of the State of Israel, including the transfer of humanitarian aid from foreign countries to Gaza. I'll take this opportunity to thank the Italian company Grimaldi for being our partner for many years, which called the port of Ashdod during the war, and the Italian Coast Guard, which allowed Italian ships to call the port of Ashdod even during difficult times. We at the port of Ashdod are proud and grateful to the Italian government for choosing us to assist and handle the humanitarian shipment, and we hope to strengthen our cooperation in the future. I would also like to thank the staff of Italian Embassy and the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and of course, Ashdod Port team for their professional work in coordinating this important event. Your commitment helped make this meeting a reality, and we are greatly appreciate and our fruitful cooperation between us. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chairman Schneider, for your hospitality and for your words. We'll now hear opening remarks by Minister of Foreign Affairs Gideon Saar, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Antonio Tajani, and then we'll open it for questions. Ministers, please.
My friend, Italian Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Antonio Tajani, it's always good to be with you, and it's always good to see you in Israel. I want to thank the Chairman of Ashdod Port, Shaul Schneider, and to thank Ashdod Port for its hospitality. It is our third meeting and your second visit to Israel since the ceasefire. You are a friend of Israel. You are always, always welcome here. Mr. Deputy Prime Minister, Israel and Italy are today pillars of stability and strength. Italy is a leader in Europe and on the international stage. Israel is a powerhouse in the dangerous and unstable Middle East. After Hamas committed the October 7th massacre, Israel set 3 objectives. 1, dismantling Hamas military and governing capabilities. 2nd, securing the release of all of our hostages. 3, removing the threat from Gaza to our citizens. War is not an aim in itself, but we will not compromise on our objectives. Hamas leaders have repeatedly declared their intent to carry out more October 7th style attacks against Israel. They are committed to their idea of eliminating the Jewish state. Israel will not accept Hamas rule in Gaza. As long as Hamas is in power, there will be no peace, no security, and no stability in this region. Israel is committed to facilitating humanitarian aid to Gaza in accordance with international law and the framework for the release of the hostages. And everyone can see that we are fulfilling our commitments according to this framework. But I want to emphasize something very clear. UNRWA is not part of the solution in Gaza. UNRWA is part of the problem. UNRWA employees participated in the October 7 massacre. UNRWA facilities are used for Hamas terror operations. UNRWA leadership did nothing to uproot the terror activities in its organizations. Israeli British hostage Emily Damari was held in UNRWA facilities. It is unbelievable. While some have called for Israel to help UNRWA, they misunderstand the Israeli people. The law banning UNRWA in Israel was passed in the Israeli Knesset by coalition and opposition alike. After October 7, there is a wide consensus in Israel. Terrorism will not be tolerated anymore. Israel abides by international law. The humanitarian flow is still coming in. So let us be honest, humanitarian aid does not equal UNRWA. Those who wish to support the humanitarian effort in the Gaza Strip should invest their resources in organizations alternative to UNRWA. So, I would like to thank you, Deputy Prime Minister Tajani, for the leadership and initiative shown by you and Prime Minister Meloni for coming here today to empower your project, Food for Gaza. Israel and Italy are close allies of the US, and our governments are close with President Trump and his administration. Today, I believe it is important to listen carefully to new ideas that have been proposed and to think outside the box. Gaza is a failed experiment. It failed under Egyptian sovereignty. It failed when handed to the Palestinian Authority under the Oslo Accords. Ever since we saw terrorism in a rise. It has certainly failed under Hamas regime. Gaza in its current state has no future. We must try to find a different solution. We must take a new approach. We have an opportunity today to try to build a better future for ourselves and for the entire Middle East. My friend Minister Tajani, we appreciate you coming out here today, and we praise Italy's positive engagement. Grazie mille. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Deputy Prime Minister, please.
Thank you very much, Gideon. Thank you, President, for hosting us in this very important port in the Middle East. I am very pleased to be in Israel today, in this port, with my friend, the Minister Gideon Saar. And this is the third time we met in less than a month, and we will continue to work together to build an ever stronger and constructive dialogue between Italy and Israel. We are proud to be friends of Israel and friend of the people of Israel. With my visit, I want to reaffirm Italy's commitment to peace, dialogue, and concrete assistance to build a future of hope and stability in the Middle East. We believe that security is impossible without peace. The ceasefire in Gaza is a political turning point for the entire region. Now is key to implement all three phases of the agreement and to reach a permanent cessation of the hostilities. We will continue to work with Israel and with our regional partners to consolidate dialogue and stability with the diplomacy. Now is the time to work for the future. There are many ideas. The position of Italy is very clear. For the future, we believe in a region with two people, two states, but today it's impossible for us to recognize Palestine because we don't have Palestine. For this, we need to work for the future. Our commitment to a future of stability in the region is very concrete. We decided to deploy the Italian Carabinieri to the Rafah crossing point as part of the urban mission. Israel, the Palestinian National Authority, and Egypt know that they can fully count on them. Since the 7th of October, we have allocated 18 million euro for humanitarian aid in support of the civilian population of the Strip, who is paying a heavy price for the terrorist insanity of Hamas. For us, it's impossible to talk with Hamas. It's not our interlocutor. Hamas out of Gaza is a solution if you want to build peace in this part of the world. I would like to thank once again the Israeli government for the strong support to the initiative Food for Gaza from the very beginning. The fact that 15 trucks and other materials arrived here today is a very important signal. And we want to work for distribution of the goods without Hamas, directly to the civil population, thanks to the World Food Programme. Our position is very clear. In Palestine, we are working only with World Food Programme. We don't want to work with UNRWA, and we condemn the use of UNRWA offices as a prison for Israeli hostages. For this, it's impossible for us to cooperate in Palestine with UNRWA. We are working hard with the World Food Programme. It's part of the United Nations. The goal is to help the civil population. We are doing it through World Food Programme. For this, I want to thank also this United Nations organization for helping us and for helping the civil population. We want to do more. Probably we will change the name of our strategy. Probably the name will be Italy for Gaza. Italy for Gaza, because we started with the food, now also with the medical doctors, also for helping the young people with cancer. For this, I want to thank the Israeli government for helping us, for having in Italy, in our hospitals in Piemonte region and the Lazio regions, young children with cancer. And this, for us, the humanitarian aid is very important. For this, we want to do more for helping the civil population. This is our mission. This is our engagement, part of our engagement in the Middle East. Italy will want to be more present also in the future in this part of the world. Syria, Lebanon, of course Israel, we are friends. In Palestine, also we want to protect our trade. As you know, the trade is 40% of our GDP, and the Red Sea is crucial for our economy. For this, we will move on with Aspides mission for the protection of Italian vessels, because the Red Sea is, as I said, is crucial for increasing our trade in the world. And for this, the stability of this region is crucial also for having stability in all the Mediterranean Sea. Today is a symmetry of young migrants coming from everywhere. We want to transform this sea in a sea of peace, trade and growth.
Prime Minister, question, please. Yes, please.
BBC, first, Mr. Saar, there's a lot more aid coming into Gaza after the ceasefire. How important is it for you that the second phase of the ceasefire happens, and has Mr. Trump's intervention made that more difficult? And second on that one, how are you going to make Trump's plan to remove hundreds of thousands of people from Gaza work, and will it become Israeli government policy? And to Mr. Tajani, what do you think of the Trump plan and its impact on the humanitarian situation in Gaza?
Thank you. First of all, it is important for us to implement the framework to the release of our hostages with all its phases. Of course, as I mentioned, we are committed fully to all three objectives of the war, as the Security Cabinet had defined it. So, war for itself is not an ideology. If we can achieve our objectives by diplomatic means, by political means, very good. If we will not be able to do that, we will have to go back to military activities, which might be different operated, but I don't want to enter to that because, as I said, we will hold negotiations. There is also a third option that we will. One option is to reach an agreement within the framework of the first 42 days. Second option, as I mentioned, to return to military activity. Third option is, if you see you have an effective negotiations, you can make the framework of the time longer if you think there is an horizon of reaching to an agreement. So this is the theoretical options. We would like to implement, but we have a commitment. We will not. I said it previously. Hamas rule in Gaza will make, first of all, it will make the life of Palestinians residents in Gaza miserable, as it did. It will be a consistent threat for the security of our people, and it will be a source of instability to all the region, because you saw already that October 7 attack caused a regional war. So it is very important to understand that. We must change that situation. If we can change it by political means, very good. With regard to the idea presented by President Trump, I spoke about it. I think it's time to bring ideas out of the box. We saw what happened to previous ideas, and we don't want to go back to suggestions and moves and plans that were failed already in the past. We must think differently. We don't have details yet, but we can talk about principles. The principles must be everyone that is ready to immigrate, wants to immigrate from his free will. It is moral to give him that option and not to put him in prison. So everything must be based on the free will of individual, and on the other hand, of a will of a state that is ready to absorb. And so if these two issues are addressed, it's moral, it's humane, it's all right. But of course, these are principles. We should check, we should see details, which countries are involved, other issues. But from the principal point of view, no one can deny that if these two principles exist, it is immoral to do such a plan. It is, on the contrary, it is very moral.
I am very pragmatic. I think we are leaving the first step of the ceasefire. We need to move on to the second step. This is very, very important. But this now is crucial to work for achieving this second step and then the third step. After the ceasefire, we will have peace. And when we will have peace, it's possible to talk on the future. Our position is very clear. For the future, we are in favor of two people, two states living in peace. Nothing is possible to do without the agreement of the Palestinians. There is another problem for us, illegal immigration. For this, we need to know exactly what Trump wants to do. For this, for me, it's too early to talk on this. For us, in this moment, it's crucial to back the security of Israel and to back the ceasefire for achieving peace. For this, I said I am very pragmatic. This now, we need to work for achieving these two very important goals, not only for Israel and Palestine, but for everyone in the world, because the stability in this region is crucial for the stability in the world.
Thank you. Next question, please. Yes. Other questions?
Hi, Minister. My name is Matias Bertero. I'm from Brazilian Record TV. I would like to know regarding the negotiations that will happen over this weekend in Qatar. What do you expect of these negotiations, and if you expect that from the beginning of the next week on, in exactly where will we be in these negotiations regarding the second phase of the ceasefire deal?
I'm not a prophet. I hope it will be successful. I hope we will be able to move forward to reach an understanding on the second phase, which is consistent with our principles, but I don't want to be a prophet to say what will be. The days will tell.
We need to work hard. If we want to achieve peace, we need to work hard.
Yes, please.
יש שם מישהו שמצביע.
Yes, please. If you can raise your voice, please.
Because UN Human Rights Council acted in the most outrageous way possible, didn't dealt really with countries who are violating human rights, like Iran. By the way, they had decisions on Israel more than Iran, Cuba, North Korea, and Venezuela all together. So they were biased, they were obsessive, about Israel. You can say they were anti-Semite because they used double standards with regard to our state. So we decided not to play in this funny game anymore. I praise the courageous and just decision of President Trump, and we did equally.
I want to add one more.
Please.
Please. On anti-Semitism. This is a big danger, also in Europe. We need to stop immediately anti-Semitism, because it's crucial for Europe. We believe in human rights. We are in favor of freedom of religion. Also, 2 days ago, a Jewish baby in Rome, around a lot of people pushing him because he's Jewish. This is impossible for us. Never forget Shoah, never. And we need to work day by day against anti-Semitism. Okay, it's possible to talk against the government. Okay, it's normal. So against me, but the problem is not a political issue. Anti-Semitism is a moral issue. For this, we need to fight and to stop immediately at school, starting from the schools, to stop anti-Semitism. If we want to live in peace, to shoot in the name of God is to shoot against God. For this, we need to stop immediately.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Good evening. I'm Stamos Prousalis from Reuters. I would like to ask if there is an order to the army to open ways for people to move out of Gaza.
I think there was an announcement today from the defense minister. Everyone can read it, everyone can understand it. I cannot add anything to what is written there.
Minister Saar, I wanted to know if has anything changed in your relations with the Arab countries after Trump's plan. Also, and how do you reply to the hostages' family who think that this plan is affecting the second phase? And to the Minister Tajani about the West Bank and the military operation is going on. The mayor of Jenin says that the population, there is like the same strategy used in Gaza and displacing people and blocking humanitarian aid. So what's the position of the Italian government? How does the minister reply to this?
First of all, with regard to Arab states, I want to mention a very important fact. Even though we are 14 months, almost 14 months, in military conflict with so many of our Arab and Muslim neighbors in the Middle East, our relations with this peace and normalization state continued. Not even one state, not of the Abraham Accords and not of the previous accords, beginning with the first peace agreement with Egypt from the 70s, after that the Jordanians, and after that all the other countries, relations continues with all Arab states. In certain cases, they became low profile due to the time and circumstances, but none of these states broke relations with Israel. It is very important to recognize this fact. I think it's an important fact. I think it demonstrates that everyone understands that normalization and good relations with us is in the benefit of both sides. So we would like to, of course, to continue with that. And by the way, we want to widen this club of our neighbors and have new normalization agreements. And I think it is possible because we already saw that President Trump in his first term brought the Abraham Accords, and I think he's the right man to also to help us to reach to new peace agreements. So sometimes you can have differences. Of course, we had, during the war, we had criticism from certain Arab states, but none of them broke relations. It's very important. With regard to hostages' families, first of all, I had hundreds of hours meeting hostages' relatives during this war. I worked very hard, and I still do. And I know there are different opinions of different relatives and families, but one thing must be a principle. Don't argue with an hostage's families. I will never do that because I can understand their situation, their care for their loved ones, and we must do our utmost as a government to release all the hostages. And I had the privilege to vote for both hostage deal, the first one on November 2023 that released the mothers and the children, the second this January that we are implementing right now. Tough decisions with prices. We paid heavy prices. We released terrorists from our jails. It's not easy. We paid other prices, but we did the right thing in order to meet our commitment for our sisters and brothers. And we will continue to do that.
Janine, it's right of Israel to protect himself, but we need to be prudent, and we need to split the civil population and the terrorists. But also, it's also a crime to use the civil population for organizing terrorist attack. This is very dangerous for the civil population. Of course, my message is to Israel, please, be prudent. But we condemn the use of the civil population for protecting Hamas and the terrorism. It's a double message. Prudence, but it's a crime to use the civil population for protecting terrorism. This is, our position on this is very clear.
Thank you. Last question. Yes, please.
Mr. Saar, this morning Donald Trump added that Gaza Strip would be turned over to the United States by Israel. At the conclusion of the party, he wrote it on his social media. I wonder, what do you make of his latest Trump post? And Mr. Tajani, following up to your announcement of Italy not working with UNRWA anymore in the occupied Palestinian territories, I wonder if Italy still recognizes Palestinians who left nowadays Israeli territories in 1948 as refugees, as UNRWA stand for, or if Italy approach has changed in this matter.
First of all, I think that the U.S. is a very good candidate to restore Gaza Strip after the war. And I think it only demonstrates a commitment for a better future in this region. And I praise Donald Trump, President of the United States, on his willingness to be engaged.
Our position is every day the same. Our goal is two people, two states. But today, it's impossible for us to recognize Palestine because Palestine doesn't exist. There is West Bank and Gaza. Palestine is not a state in this moment. For this, it's impossible to recognize Palestine, because to recognize Palestine today is a negative message for peace, because it's a clear message against Israel. Our goal is to work for peace. I think, for me, we need a Palestinian state, but in the future, after the reunification of Palestine. On UNRWA, Italy decided to stop any financement for UNRWA, because UNRWA, with many workers of this organization, was part of the attack against the Israeli civil population the 7th of October 2023. We are working hard with the United Nations through the World Food Programme. The problem is not UNRWA or World Food Programme. The problem is to help the civil population without the intermediation of Hamas. We condemn, as I said, the use of UNRWA, of the offices, as a prison for Israel hostages. Now we are financing UNRWA for a project outside Palestine, for Palestinian people living in other countries, but not in Gaza. And I think, as I said, it's important to back the United Nations. World Food Programme is part, as UNRWA, of the United Nations. But World Food Programme is neutral. It's not fighting with Hamas, it's not fighting with Israel. It's working only for helping civil population. And this is our goal, to help the civil population. Because our engagement is not a political engagement in favor of one or the other. The only one goal of Italy is to back the civil population. If we want to achieve peace, we need to calm the situation. It's not to organize the Palestinians against Israel. For this, our engagement is in favor of the United Nations. The United Nations, for us, in this moment, is the best organization for helping the civil population in Gaza. For us, is the World Food Programme.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. The press conference is now over.